Welcome to today's video. Today's video is especially close to my heart. It's about trauma, how to live with it as an adult, and most importantly, the habits that we've picked up to adapt ourselves to live with this trauma for no reason other than what we think is to protect ourselves. But there is hope. The main part is to know from the Torah that this trauma was actually a gift given to us as a kid. We may have adapted it in a negative way. But if we understand that it's been a most beautiful gift that we've been given to become a better person, to grow, this gift was actually customized for us. And it takes a long time to understand that. It took me many years to even realize that some of the things that I've adapted to was a result of the trauma of the childhood that I took on. This video is especially helpful for people that are willing and wanting to put the effort in to change their life, to be open to enjoying the abundance and the goodness that's available to us. Focus that I want to deal with is bringing ourselves into a calm place, letting go of what we called those bad experiences. And from then we can grow and become the person that we always wanted to be. First thing I want to talk about is how I myself have adapted to so many things in my daily life without even realizing, until someone says, "Do you know you really do it this way?" And I'm like, "Really? I didn't know that." Because I adapted because of a situation that I attached a negative emotion to the thing, believing that trauma was actually something terrible that happened in my life. So I adapted and said, okay, and the mind and body doesn't know the difference between the truth and that's not true. So it's adapted to make it feel good in a really, really weird sort of way. And constantly, all the time, I'm not realizing until, oh, that's a habit. I've had it my whole life. That's now the most beautiful gift I have, is that I have the ability to change it. Yes, we'll talk a little bit about it later. One of the techniques that we can use to change it, to make our life be more flourishing, growing, and free, letting go of those tensions and ways of adapting. It's almost like, when you have a sore back and then you start hobbling around on the side and then something else gets sides because you're adapting to the sore back instead of realizing that there's something deeper involved in the sore back. It's a gift that God's given us to help us say, hey, our lifestyle's not working, so we need to change it. So instead of we're going to put like a Band-Aid on and hobble around with a sore back, twisting our body, and then the next minute something else is sore, and it goes on and on. The body's giving us a beautiful message. After many, many years of working it, I understand when these little messages come are the most amazing, beautiful messages. Why they're so beautiful? Gives me the opportunity to let go of something that I never knew I was holding on to, and now open up room for some goodness, letting go, having more of an abundance, open mindset instead of a closed, fixed mindset. Because with a closed, you can only see what's in there. It's like having blinkers on. What can you see inside the blinkers? Only that there. By letting go of that situation being open, I can sit back and let it come in my way. Or the goodness is constantly coming into our lives. But when we're stuck in this trauma mode, the only thing we can find and see is the same pattern. It's like a magnet, we get attracted to that same thing. But in reality, we're not really wanting that. That's the least thing we want, is there's more of that same thing we don't want. But the body and mind is in such a habit. And it takes a lot of time, but it also takes a lot of energy out of us being in that negative trauma mode. So we can free ourselves and enjoy life. I guess one of the most powerful ways, and probably the hardest way, is the power of gratitude. Why is gratitude so important? Thankfulness. Every morning I start my day out, I allow myself a minute or two to complain what's wrong. My back hurts, this hurts, whatever it is. I don't like this situation, I don't like that situation, this person's annoying me, why can't I have this? Whatever it is, just limit it to a short amount of time. Then I go through and list all the good things that have happened in my life. Why is that so important? Remember, with trauma, we've had so much fixed on what's wrong, and our body's basing it, analogizing everything in a negative bias. So by starting the day off with finding 10 beautiful things that happen in our life, they could be the most simplest things that you're able to do. You had 5 things to accomplish the previous day, and guess what? You were able to complete them all. That's an amazing task that was able to get done. Quite often you can't do it, there's something happened. You're able to spend an extra few minutes staying in a more calmful way. Anything simple that's happened. You got out of bed on time. It may be more difficult because the weather's colder, you want to get out. Maybe you got a good night's sleep. You had an amazing meal. You know, somebody called you up that made you feel good. It's amazing how this happens. These tiny little things that we start spending time each day finding what's good. It starts sort of like solidifying inside of us and becoming us. It helps us to be aware. So when these bias of this negative trauma habit kicks in, you're like, okay, this is a habit from the past. Do I really need to keep reliving what I don't want? Or do I have the opportunity now to start living what I do want? And yes, it takes time and practice. And sometimes it's easy to get through it, and sometimes it takes longer. But the bottom line is if we focus on knowing that we can get through it and ignoring the bad habits of saying, oh, I can't do it right now, it's got to happen now. That's just another excuse for keeping us from allowing us to access the good that we want. It's another excuse to push us backwards. I can't be bothered, it's too difficult. But the bottom line is there's a little fire inside of us saying, yes, we do want it. Otherwise we wouldn't be saying that. So with the God's help, we can allow it to happen. The big part is to realize it. The second part is letting go. Letting go and coming into a very calm place. And for some people, you know, I've been doing this for 15, 20 years, actually probably longer than that, is to keep still. Like people say to me, how do you meditate? I can't do it, I can't sit still. Don't sit still, jiggle around. Because what's happening is there's a fight going inside of you saying, I can't get still, I can't do this. Okay, then don't fight it, just move around a little bit. See what's happened, it's letting go. You didn't go for that fight. The body's like, oh, it's an unusual sensation, fine. And then over time, it may take years, many years to come to that calmness, to let stillness come in. And when you've got the stillness, the body has the most amazing way to take on change. It's in a calm place, it's not feeling threatened. And by being calm, you're actually being present. And when present, you can actually bring in the new ways of doing things. See, the important thing is to remember with trauma, there's an emotion and there's a visualization of the situation that's happened. The emotion attached to it is very, very strong, and the visualization is as well. So as soon as you think of wanting to do something, it's like, okay, you know, I'm not a very good speller. And every time I think I spell a word, it's like my body locks up. It's like, oh, I can't spell. It's got this visualization of me struggling to do it with an emotion like locking up, it's tense. So I just got to realize that's an old habit. Do I want to be stuck like that for the rest of my life? I have the choice. So I can come back, center, visualize, working it out. You know, there's many, many ways. You can do it on the computer. You can talk it into your phone, the words. You can try and get it through. And the more that you do it in a positive way, the more the body goes, oh, I don't need that negative feedback anymore. I can slowly replace it with a positive feedback and look for alternatives to do it. And if you spell it wrong, it's no big deal. We just work it through and do it. Instead of like feeling like a failure and getting knocked down by it because it's an old trauma habit, let it go. The main thing is understanding where we are. Okay, that's an old habit. Do I really want to keep it or do I want to change it? And by opening up and allowing yourself to let go of those old habits and then working towards a new one, this is a real key part to it. And I find one of the big, most important parts is breath work. And because what happens with that old habit comes in, we take shallow breaths. We may not realize the whole body is now not functioning properly. It's on this shallow breath. So we can bring ourselves back to a nice, flowing, deeper breath, preferably through your nose and in and out through your nose. But I obviously can't do it when I'm talking. But the thing is that allows us to come back to center and allows us to calm our mind down to start thinking of what we do want. It's all about having choices. Now remember, trauma and negativity or lack is limiting ourselves. But God gave us an abundance. And when we know that it's out there and know that we can do it, we can open up to it and we can allow it to come in. When it comes in, it's not our job. Leave it to God. Just let Him take care of it. Just focus on bringing it back and knowing it can happen in a loving, calm way. I think one of the big parts is to realize that these habits that we've created from trauma is not a bad thing. We just know that it's there and we can actually know that we can replace it. The more that we can know, the more that we can feel it, the more that we can visualize, the changing happens to what we do want, the easier it's going to be on, and the more the body is going to say, oh, I like this sensation, I like this feeling, I like this sound of it, I like the eyesight of it. We can bring it in, more that it wants to take it on. And the more the new habits can replace the old one. Neuroplasticity was a God's gift that we have to change old habits. And then automatically over time will be the default instead of the old default trauma way. This is the aim, is to create a new set of programs that work for us in our life. I want to thank you very much for staying through to the end. I appreciate it a lot. Oh, before I forget, if you enjoy this video, please put a lovely comment down below, either there or send me an email. Much appreciated. And if you subscribe already, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. If you haven't subscribed, look forward to joining the family. Hit the subscribe button. Thank you very much.